What is up, cinephiles, and welcome back to Screen Kings. Today's video we'll be talking about Disney Pixar's Lightyear, directed by Angus Mclane. He's one of the co-directors of the movie Finding Dory. Now, this movie is about Buzz Lightyear, but it's not about Buzz Lightyear from Toy Story. There's a disclaimer at the beginning of the film that this is actually the movie from where Buzz Lightyear the toy is based on. So right from the get-go, you have to abandon any preconceived notion that narratively this will be connected to the Toy Story films, because they're not. This is probably the most cinematic Toy Story film that I've seen. Not that the other Toy Story films are not cinematic, but just because you can really feel that this movie is really striving to be a live action movie with its gorgeous landscape and its eye-popping animation. So it's something that we take for granted from the film studio nowadays, but nevertheless, I really appreciate the visuals that are in display here, the technical craft. As for the Pixar formula, it's still in here. We have the endearing characters, we have exciting action sequences, the humor that can be appreciated by both kids and adults. If there's an element here that's not really standing out for me, it would have to be the imagination aspect. I just wish the storytelling would be a little bit more ambitious, or something that will go beyond, so to speak. But in its own right, this is entertaining enough. It's not going to be as iconic as Toy Story, because this is not a Toy Story, and I do like that they're not really banking much on nostalgia factor here. In fact, there's not really much of callbacks here to the Toy Story films, and I'm okay with that because it needs to separate itself from the Toy Story franchise, since this is a spin-off. If anything else, it draws more of the inspiration from the classic sci-fi films that I've seen, and maybe to the more recent ones like Top Gun Maverick. There's a scene here that literally reminded me of that Top Gun Maverick scene, and maybe some elements of Interstellar here because there are some time travel elements involved in the film. As for Buzz Lightyear, they have to change the character design, and it's for obvious reasons that, again, they need to separate the Toy Story character to this spin-off character. Profile-wise, I think they have the same characteristics or personality. They're both straight shooter, no-nonsense character, and sometimes unintentionally funny when they're narrating. I would say Toy Story Buzz starts more as an archetype, and as the movie or as the whole franchise went on, the character starts to be more complex. But in this movie, Lightyear, Buzz immediately feels like a human, as it should be. So in effect, I gained more appreciation for this character more than I expected. And if there's a Toy Story 5 somewhere in the pipeline that will feature Buzz Lightyear, I will be thinking of this movie. As for the voice work, Chris Evans did a fantastic job in this film. I noticed that he imitated some of the inflections and the cadence of Tim Allen, so we will be reminded of who this character is. But for me, the breakthrough star here would have to be Socks, voiced by Sohn. He's the lovable pet companion. He's hilarious, and he steals all the scenes he's in all of his antics and shenanigans. Maybe because I have a soft spot for cats, but I can really tell by the way this character is designed that it is meant to raise the sales for that merch money. Rounding up the supporting cast are the motley crew of Buzz Lightyear. We have Keke Palmer voicing Izzy. She has astrophobia, and you can almost tell that this character would have to surpass that fear at some point. And then we have this incompetent yet likable duo voiced by Taika Waititi and Dale Souls. Most of their dynamic is reliant to cheap slapstick, so as a whole, this trio, I'm not sure if they're memorable enough in the level of Guardians of the Galaxy crew. Definitely not, but I think they're still likable enough, so we are invested into their safety. The weak spot of this movie would have to be the villain. I felt like this character could have been treated better, considering that this is a familiar face from the Toy Story franchise. It's actually Zurg, so if you've seen the trailer, you can already guess who this character is. Now, as for the emotional factor, because that's what Pixar is known for, tugging the heartstrings of its viewer, making sure that we are gutted in this tearjerker scenes. I did not cry in this movie, or wasn't the point of nearly crying at any point, but there is this emotional scene at the first act of the movie where it involves a montage of time passing, dealing with themes of loss and friendship. So it reminded me of Up, so I thought it was emotionally effective. But throughout the film, the emotional bits are really sincere, and the life lessons that you're gonna get from this movie, the usual not really being too fixated on one goal that you forget to enjoy the little things in life, or able to cherish the relationships that really matters. As for Boss here, he's an egoistic character who's not really used to teamwork, just like in his Toy Story character. So the same growth can be attributed here. He will learn how to depend to others, but it delivers more on the space sci-fi aspect. So I wouldn't say that this movie is life-changing for me as an adult, but nevertheless, it's entertaining, and I think it's worthy of admission price. That even if it doesn't reach the emotional heights of Toy Story films, we have here a voice cast which are uniformly talented, gorgeous animation, and of course the score from Michael Giacchino will always be A grade. So I enjoyed it for what it is. It's definitely the weakest film in the Toy Story franchise, but it doesn't mean that this movie is bad. It's just that Pixar has just set a high bar, super high bar when it comes to their films. So I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Definitely not a cash grab film, unlike the other film that I saw recently, which is Jurassic World Dominion. Anyway, guys, how about you? Have you seen this movie? Let me know what you think in the comment sections down below. Also, if you enjoyed watching this video, hit that like and subscribe to me for weekly reviews of movies and TV shows. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Until then, I'll see you all on the next one.